Thank you, Keith. Welcome to virtual worship at Paint Branch Unitarian Universalist Church. I am John Barr, one of the worship associates who plans services in collaboration with church staff. I'm happy you chose to be with us for our Ingathering service today. If you are using Zoom this morning, please run your cursor around the perimeter of your Zoom window or your screen to find the microphone icon and make sure to remain muted throughout the service so we can all hear the speakers and the piano clearly. By moving your cursor around the edges of your screen, you may also find the option for switching between gallery view and speaker view. I recommend that you choose speaker view, especially during the photo essay parts of this service. That way you can see the pictures very clearly. You can also click on the chat bubble. I see that several people have already done so. And you can there read timely messages and post your own messages there as well. Speaking of posting your own messages, I invite you now to type into the chat how many people are viewing from your screen. If it is just you, please type 1. Later in the service, we will also be using the chat feature to post our joys and sorrows. At the end of today's service, you will have the option to join a small chat group in a breakout room when the service is over by staying on Zoom. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Rachel Christensen. I'm the minister here at Paint Branch, and thank you, John Barr, for giving us our welcome and beginning for the service. John is a new worship associate, and we're grateful to have him be a part of the service today. I'm just delighting in the weather these days, the cool mornings, the warm afternoons. It's just wonderful. Today is our Ingathering service, and it's been raising the question for me all week about what does it mean to gather when we cannot actually be together? How do we do this? How do we rethink community and be a part of these things together? I'm going to read this poem by Nancy Schaefer, one that I'm sure I've shared before. It's called Prayer for This Church. May each one among us have skin that longs to touch other skin, fingertips that long for other fingertips, or whole hands and even arms, bodies that want to stand next to other bodies, not alone, while singing and bending and stirring soup. May ones whose skin doesn't cry out for other skin wish it did, and so teach it, so that no one stands alone and no one aches and does not say so. May our doors be so open it is drafty inside, and people sometimes shout because noises without come also within. May those sheltered here sometimes cry all at once, letting tear water clean what words by themselves cannot. In silent times, may everyone present hear everyone else breathing and know this is not separate from how the world breathes all night. May we always have enough room for those many who want to come in. May those who cherish this church be so glad they cannot stop speaking, stop asking, and may that crowding itself be a gladness as we keep adding rooms. May we notice each one who is new and invite her to stay. May our list of names for the holy not ever be finished, and may we hear God chuckling with us as we find still more. I'm now welcoming Ebony Contreras in lighting our chalice. Ebony?
On this beautiful and gathering morning, let's light our chalices together and say our unison chalice lighting as it appears on our screens. We light the chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is a church of the open mind, the helping hands, the loving heart, and the radiant spirit. Encendamos este caliz para celebrar el Unitarismo Universalismo. Esta es la iglesia de la mente abierta, de las manos amigas, del amor, del corazón y del espíritu radiante.
Thank you, Ebony. I'm going to do a reading now called We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For, from Hopi Elders. You have been telling people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour. And there are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relation? Where is your water? Know your garden. It is time to speak your truth. Create your community. Be good to each other, and do not look outside yourself for your leader. Then he clasped his hands together, smiled, and said, "This could be a good time. There is a river flowing now, very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel that they are being torn apart and will suffer greatly. Know the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, keep our eyes open and our heads above water. And I say, see who is in there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey come to a halt. The time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in sacred manner and celebration. We are the ones we've been waiting for." We'll now see a dance done by our Chalice dancers and the Erica Timai Dance Company called We Are the Ones by Karen Drucker.
We are the ones who make
Well, excuse me. I think it was a little bit unfair to have me talk after that. That was really nice. Okay. Traditionally, historically, I have been the kind of person that disappears from church life during the summer months. I don't want to say that I disappear like a thief in the night or that I make good my merry escape, because that makes it sound like I don't love church, which is patently untrue. And during the summer months, I disappear like a thief in the night and make good my merry escape. The direct result of my summertime disappearing act is that I love ingathering. I love walking up the deck and seeing faces I probably haven't seen in a couple of months, seeing brand new faces that I might not have seen before, being welcomed as I walk through the doors, and welcoming the folks that come in after me. Getting hugs and catching up, seeing new art on the walls, and going to sit in the choir loft. I have always loved coming back to church for ingathering. I love the reverence that lives in the still, quiet moments. But more than that, I love the joy that lives inside the celebration and the chaos. The circus music feel of an ingathering service has always made me happy. Dancers, choir, bring in the children. Here comes the minister. Oh my gosh, hey y'all, guess what? It's time to do a craft. I love it. I love it. And this year, it's different. I never really imagined that ingathering would look this way. I would be lying if I said I wasn't feeling a little bit sad about that. What does ingathering mean when the only place I have gathered into this morning is my kitchen? Really, what does it mean? Does the fact that we are each tuning in virtually from our individual decks, dens, dining rooms, basements, bedrooms, and kitchen nooks mean that we won't have those moments of reverence or those moments of joy? Does it mean that there are no welcomes to be had? Does it mean that we are somehow not all gathered here in hope, compassion, and strength? Does it mean that we're not a community? Certainly not. Ingathering looks and sounds and feels a little bit different this year, but that's okay. I will admit that initially I had to cock my head to one side and stick my tongue out, close one eye and squint the other one. But once I really looked, it's not that hard to see that the dancers are still dancing. The singers are still singing. I still get to see familiar faces and get to know the new ones in our breakout rooms. Still get to hear the piano being played, Spirit of Life at the end of the service. And I still get to sing along at home, even though no one can hear me but my dog, but that's nice in its own way. I am still welcomed here at Paint Branch, and so are you. To borrow again from Gather in Spirit, one of my favorite hymns, our separate fires still kindle one flame. The experience of having to look a little harder to find those things that I love about ingathering, to really see them and appreciate them, has been a joyful one, and I'm glad for it. I want to close with a poem that I found. It's called Ingathering. Ingathering, in the fall, in the church, in the quiet, in the noise, in thought, in the spirit, in anticipation, in calm, in the beginning, in the end, in transition, in gratitude, in hope, in love, in faith, in unison, Ingathering. That was by Tamara Lebec. Let us join our hearts and minds in a time of prayer and meditation. As we gather in community, we carry with us life's hurts and its great joys. Sometimes sharing these joys and concerns in community can help. At this time, please share any joys or sorrows that you would like in the chat bar. Now, with open hearts, we share our joys and sorrows. I would like to share a joy that Betty Young is now back home at Riderwood after a week-long stay in the hospital where she was treated for an infection, but not COVID-19. Betty welcomes emails and cards via snail mail, but please no calls or visits at this time. Let us take a moment to acknowledge all that has been shared, as well as those joys and sorrows that remain unspoken, and yet are on our minds and in our hearts. In this moment of quiet, may our hearts open to hope and healing. May our minds open to peace and possibility. May we hold all these and one another in love and in kindness, so that this congregation may be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days and weeks ahead.
And now we'll have Keith Miller play some music while we can post our joys and sorrows in the chat. Thank you, Keith. you, Keith. Keith stepped in at the last minute today because David couldn't get internet to his computer at the meeting house that he uses to broadcast his music for us for every service. We are so lucky to have such a deep bench, shall we say, of backups, of alternatives, of support systems, and the ability to, I think, dance when the occasion calls for it. So thank you, Keith, for stepping up. We are taking a moment today to name and acknowledge those who have been serving us in leadership and are retiring from that role. We are grateful for your years of service and the leadership, time, and energy committed to this work, the thoughtfulness you brought to it, and the ways in which you kept us strong and connected. On the Board of Trustees, Don Gerson served for 1 year, Eric Most and Kathy Yu each served for 3 years in guiding this church, and they are rolling off the board and getting a much needed rest from that work. And our worship associates, Samantha Evans, Jerry Holloway, and Elizabeth Porter, each have served for 3 years. For Ebeth, this is her last service that she will be doing as a worship associate. And I want to thank you, each of you. According to the American Heritage Dictionary, a commissioning is the act of granting certain powers or authority to carry out a particular task or duty. In many churches, there's a common misconception that the leaders of the church run things, that the Board of Trustees has all sorts of power to get things done, and that everyone else essentially coasts along following the direction the leaders have set. Some people even seem to think that the minister has this kind of authority. This is not true, especially for us. As a congregationally based tradition, all power in Unitarian Universalist churches comes up through the congregation and is bestowed upon the leaders, including ordained leaders, to carry out specific service for the good of the whole. Today, then, we are taking this reality seriously, and we formally bestow upon our chosen leaders the authority they need to carry out the works that we have assigned to them. This commissioning service is an opportunity to give our blessings to the ministries these women and men will provide in the coming year, and to affirm their sense of calling to the roles of service they claim, and to which you and we have elected them as leaders. To be sure, there are people who give much to this church of their time and their talents whose names will not be called this morning, and there are people on this list who do things for which they are not now being recognized. This service is not an attempt to honor all those who serve this community. Our intent today is far more modest. We seek to affirm those whom we have set apart through election at our annual meeting, those who have taken upon themselves one of the institutionally recognized roles of leadership. And this in itself is no small thing. These leaders need our affirmation and our support, for they are no different than the rest of us. Yet they have entered into the ministry of leadership for all of our sakes. Here then are the names of those elected to leadership in our congregation, and we have the good fortune to have a slideshow of their photos so that we all know who those people are. Bill is here we go. So we have Carol Boston, Ebony Contreras, Moe Cunningham, Melissa Graham, who also serves as chair of the board, Sabrina Jones, Margaret McClellan, Janet Overton, Wendy Schlegel, and Carol Carter Walker. Thank you, all of you, for agreeing to do this work. In addition, we have named the following people to serve as our worship associates for the coming year: John Barr, Ebony Contreras, Diana McFadden, Tricia Most, Nori Mearden Ward, Polly Pettit, Clark Ritz, and Susanna Schiller. These are the people we have called to serve us. On the congregation's behalf, because we're on Zoom, Ebeth Porter and John Barr will read the words that might normally have been spoken by the congregation, charging our leaders with leadership of the congregation.
I'll probably be back on relatively soon.
So if you need me to, I can read the part. You just need to tell me if you're still in or if you need a backup person. This is our deep bench.
Yes, please.
All right. John, how are you doing with your part?
I'll just pick it all up.
Okay, good.
We, the members of this congregation, charge you to be guided in your work by our covenant of right relations and by the principles we affirm in common. We charge you to affirm the dignity and worth of all persons and to champion the rights of children, youth, women and men, straight and gay, old and young, that this might indeed be the church of the open mind, the helping hands, the loving heart, and the radiant spirit. We charge you to cherish our spiritual, racial, and cultural diversity, and to help us live together so that we are strengthened rather than divided by our pluralism, so that we might truly, freely explore our values and honor our diversity as a source of communal strength. We charge you to honor our past without being bound by it. We charge you to hold in your hearts the needs of the wider community in which we live.
Members of the board, you are charged with keeping sight of the big picture, with holding our vision, honoring our past, and guiding us toward our future. Are you ready and willing to accept this charge? I invite you to say, "We are." And to the worship associates, you are charged with caring for and nurturing the worship life of this community, of bringing together the strands of our lives and of the world in which we live into services of strength, beauty, and inspiration. Are you ready and willing to accept this charge? Please answer, "We are." And to the congregation, do you, the members and friends of this congregation, affirm these elected leaders as volunteers who need your support, your participation, and your appreciation, as well as your caring and concern? I invite you to give a good thumbs up. Yay!
Grateful for your willingness to take on the responsibilities of leadership in our community. We affirm your calling and vow to support your ministries of leadership in every way we can. We encourage you to take care of yourselves as you take care of us, and to remember that you are a part of this community even while you lead us.
In response to, and as a sign of this affirmation of your call to service, I say to you, for all that has been, thank you. And for all that will be, yes. Blessed be. Thank you for those who are serving our church, even as we go forward in this very strange time of COVID and reimagining what Sundays can look like. As Ebeth said in the poem by Tamara Liebeck, says, ingathering, in the fall, in the church, in the quiet, in the noise, in thought, in the spirit, in anticipation, we gather to begin a new year, to recognize that for each of us, we have changed. We have learned and grown. We have formed new relationships with each other. We have formed new relationships with our homes, with our neighborhoods, with our work, and with our lives. And today, we remember and reconnect. We remember the places of Paint Branch, the places where we usually meet, and the people. Oh, the people. Please enjoy this video as a reminder of the people and the places. The people, the children, the adults, the families, the different sounds and images, the different voices reading the names. And thank you especially to Tasha O'Neill, David Chapman, Phil Brown, and all of the people who recorded names for us in putting this together. Phil?
Linda McClendon, Beth Charbonneau, Penny Hughes, Eileen Haynes, Penny O'Brien,
Tasha O'Neill, Johnny Katz, Sonny Katz, Julie Joseph, Lena Rosh, Eric Cardiff,
Samantha Evans, Ken Red, Moe Cunningham, Denny Foster, Paul Wester, Darren Lovas, Joy Charbonneau, Lovas, Keith Miller, yeah, Dawn Gilchrist, Ben Gilchrist,
Renee Katz, Constance Katz, Reen McDonald, Peter Wathenden, Albert Tirado, Elizabeth Scheinman,
Erin Gebhardt, Bernie Peavy, Caleb Porter, Beth Porter, Miles Porter, Silas Porter.
Joe Deaver, Doug Igelsrud, Bob Quick, Louise Quick, Betty Young.
Jackie Walpole, James Alexander, Louis Law, Linda Seeley, Ebony Contreras, Amethyst Contreras, Onyx Contreras.
Jessica Short, Sabrina Jones, Nikki Oni, Peter Dowling, John Griggs, Rosie Rashak, John Bartoli, Ed Fallon, Muriel Morrissey, Don Gerson,
Mike McMenamin, Trisha Most, Kurt Dankmeyer, Ann Hoover, Marcy Washburn, Polly Pettit,
Layla Darlington, Almala, Catherine Darlington, Walter Darlington, Almala, Kathy Helmold, Mary Massey, Corey Carter,
Kay McGraw,
Margaret McClellan,
Harry Schumberg,
Don Mitchell,
Ellen Kotz, Lori Schneider,
Melissa Graham,
Jamie Graham Wright,
Abigail Hanley,
Clark Ritz,
Bennett Ritz, Donna,
Carmelita Carter Sykes,
Dawn Milton, Evan Graham White, Jennifer Wright, Abby Crowley,
Sandy Peavy, Carol Boston and her daughter Hazel Boston, Amy Steiner, Megan Ritz and her daughter Caroline Ritz.
Diana McFadden, Kevin Eichly, Ann Carden, Anya Carden, Margaret Morrison, Marilyn Pearl, Dave Nation, Becky Nation, Evangeline Wells, Lois Perry, Jen Monville.
Jonathan Maudsley,
Evans, Lynn Johnson, Linda Hinton, Eldridge. Hey, that's me.
Corley's Delph, Alicia Montgomery, Sherry Mitchell, Jerry Holloway, Marie Gore, Eric Most,
Hollis Tyler, Will Snyder, Janet Overton, Ramon Bartik, Pat Tompkins, Tanya Ho, Jama Ho, Christine Chiniz, Gia Ho, Eva Ho, Meg Ho,
Moe Carrillo, Wendy Jackson, Kim Keys, Tess Morrison, Marge Owens,
Shantida Joseph, Pat Behenna, Susanna Schiller, Kathy Kearns, Wendy Schlegel, Donald Monroe,
Marge Don, Anita Williams, Ula Beatty, Ken Montville, Karen Donovan,
Carolyn Byerly, Elaine Shell, Carrie Kopic,
Tanya Gilchrist, Maya Gilchrist, Ed Gravel, Deborah Street,
Barbara Putney,
Liz Citron,
Leo Jones,
Reverend Diane Tigert, Sandy Roberts,
Judy Grady,
Deb Rubenstein,
Jillian Kopic,
Mark Kopic,
Jim Flaherty,
Kathy Yu, Barbara Fairfield, Lynn Lewison too, Becky Hedin, Alan Hedin, they're part of us too.
Elizabeth Genovich, Nori Medan Ward, Reese Mida, Maggie Meerdan Ward, Miles Ward,
Mary Rooker, Tina Van Pelt, Rochelle Richards, Esther Nichols, Ken Schilling,
Fred Worth, Richard Cote, Joe Deaver, Alan Hughes, Benny
David Chapman, Al Addison, Chuck Berry, Phil Brown, Sharon Worth, Reverend Karen Screevel, Hannah Ocean.
Christensen and Eric Christensen too.
Wow. It was so much fun to put that together with the different voices. I think there may have been 31 different people came up with ways to read those names, singing and chanting, playing guitar, duets, just great fun. So what does it mean to gather when we cannot actually be together? When we are each in our separate spaces? What does it look like to be in community? Most years we bring water together from our stories and add them to our common bowl, streams of our lives brought together to symbolize our connections, our creation of a common whole. This week, the waters of the sky gathered together to create streams of common purpose in a dramatic storm that many of us experienced. We were watching the local weather, and it was a moment that meteorologist had prepared years for, to be able to share with us the play-by-play of that storm. And at Paint Branch, the waters gathered with such energy. They picked up and placed common stones on our deck, each one saying, I am here. I too am part of this community. The stones were scattered across the deck over 50 feet in from the parking lot, saying, come to church. We miss you. And we do. We miss each and every one of you. Each of those who are in this video, on this list, and I'm sure others who were inadvertently left off. Because part of what we've been doing is redefining what it means to be in community. What does our community look like when we cannot gather? It looks just like this. It's not virtual, it's real, but it's online. It's creating connections in different ways, finding our stories together through phone calls and emails and on Facebook. We can be imagining our ingathering with some sadness or anticipation for when we can actually start church again, or we can be celebrating. We are still here. We are still having church every week and gathering across the ether in teams and committees doing the work of church. The board, the worship associates, pastoral care, DART, social action committee, buildings and grounds, continuity committee. Some of these groups have been energized and revitalized by this time, this strange time of coronavirus, with a new sense of purpose and intention. We are finding new definition of church. We've created ripples, bringing people together in a different way, and it is soon to be expanded. We've found new and different ways to invite people to sing, like in today's video. We are thinking about how and when we can safely use our church facilities, and we are keeping connected to each other. We are continuing, the conflict transformation team has continued with small meetings with our consultants around issues of conflict and race. And our community relations team has already been helpful in providing facilitated meetings to help address conflict within the congregation, all online, all in this new time of COVID. This will not last forever. During the course of this next year, we will be figuring out how to move to higher levels of contact. We will have a vaccine. We will be building immunity and a sense of how to gather safely. We will be trying to figure out how to keep the wonderful things we have learned about meeting on Zoom, like no travel time or commute, and inclusion of those who are not actually living in the area. Meetings that are open to those who do not drive or do not drive at night. Our children will be back to school in a way that feels safe and effective and appropriate. Our work at Paint Branch around race will continue as we try to navigate this time in our world and try to be in healthy relationship with each other, more connected, more aware, gaining more understanding. Our sense of connection will be expanded and forever changed, but not eliminated. We still need each other. We still need you. Returning to that beginning poem by Tamara Lebec, we will gather, quote, in the beginning, in the end, in transition, in gratitude, in hope, in love, in faith, in unison, in gathering. May it be so. Thank you. If you will now join us in singing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Keith will play, I believe, and the words will be shown on your screen.
How many verses?
Oh, good question. I have no idea. It's late. Let's just do 2.
Thank you, Keith. Our church depends upon the financial support of our members and friends. During the offertory today, please give as generously as you are able. The Sunday's offering can be received as indicated in the chat bar. You can make online donations through Breeze or by text. And you can still, as I do, mail donations to the church office. The offertory music today is performed by our own Phil Brown. Phil Brown is a French hornist in the Baltimore, Washington area. He has worked with groups such as the Baltimore Symphony, National Philharmonic, Richmond Symphony, and the Virginia Symphony. The music for this offering is a movement from Alexander Tcherpin's Quartet for 4 Horns, entitled Nocturne or Night.
Thank you, Phil. I don't think it was mentioned that Phil recorded all 4 parts of that horn quartet. It's just great to hear your work in a different way than what we normally get to enjoy. Thank you for being with us this morning. Remember that we are connected and community in new ways, but still in the old. May we remain true to that and continue in this relationship, this community that we call Paint Branch. Please join me as we sing Fuente de Amor, Spirit of Life, hymn number 123, and the words will be shown on your screen. Oh, and I will break us up into breakout rooms at the end. So thank you.
Thank you for being a part of our sacred space today. As we extinguish our chalice, I'll share a few words written by Janet Parsons. The flame of our chalice this morning is a symbol of the warmth and brightness of our connections. The flame lights our way back together again from our separate summer lives, and it lights our way forward into this new church year of promise and renewal.